Spring is almost here, and with that comes the potential for severe weather. This week marks Severe Weather Preparedness Week across much of the United States. And as we know well in the Evansville area, severe weather can strike at any time, making it important for us to have severe weather plans in all of our schools.
Severe weather can strike at any second, so it's important to be prepared.
We have a lot of students here that were impacted by the tornado, and sometimes they might be a little worried, is something going to happen?
But Fairlawn Elementary Principal Lisa Hale says school is actually one of the safest places your child can be in an emergency.
We prefer that we keep the kids here where it is safe. And if we do have parents come to the school, we will tell them, you are welcome to stay here, and we would rather they stay here where it is safe too.
So why is a school building such a safe place? Well, the buildings themselves are often much safer than the house or apartment where a child lives. They're filled with interior rooms, and emergency plans are well developed.
Well, we have disaster locations throughout the school, and we have a school safety plan. So each teacher knows what room goes to which disaster location. And then people on our safety team, we go and check the classrooms, make sure every room is empty and that we have everyone in the right disaster location.
Students and teachers practice these drills several times throughout the year.
We want to make sure we can do it as quickly as possible. So if we see that it's taking one group longer, we'll look at our plan and decide, is there a better way to do this?
Because in an emergency, seconds can make all the difference. Reporting for Education Matters, I'm Jennifer Cahill.
And joining me now is an expert on the subject of severe weather and how to best be prepared, Sherman Greer, the Vanderburgh County Emergency Management Director. Sherman, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate being here.
Tell us what you do in your office and in preparing for severe weather.
Well, for severe weather and all disasters and everything, 80% of what we do is planning and working with different agencies and response agencies throughout Vanderburgh County.
Well, there have been some national tragedies, and going back to 9/11 and Homeland Security. How has that changed your job?
Well, we went from a dormant agency to a frontline agency at that time, as far as being to the forefront of the planning and getting Homeland Security funds to be able to better prepare our responders.
Just a few years ago, this community was faced with a major tragedy and tornadoes that ripped through part of our county. And since I've been here, I have heard nothing but how extraordinary that response was on behalf of the community. What did you learn from that particular tragedy?
Well, as you said, it was a great response. The thing that we've credit the response to is just 2 weeks before that, we had an exercise out at the Roberts Stadium, and we had all the players there. So whenever that tornado hit, everybody was familiar with what their responsibilities were, where their responsibilities begin and end, and the response was a fantastic response and everything. But there's just a lot of things that we learned from that, things that we can do better at the next next situation that we have, mitigation things that we can do to be able to stop from property and things like that to be destroyed and more lives to be saved.
Sure. Schools obviously are an important issue for our community and how we keep children safe when they're at school, being transported to and from school. Talk about how you interface with the public school system, not just the public school system, but the parochial schools and places that have children.
Well, first of all, you have a safety security person, Mr. Summers, Gerald Summers there. He'll let us know what his plan is, and then we've got a copy of that plan, so whenever a situation happens that encompasses the whole city and the county and everything, we know exactly what your response is going to be and what steps that you're taking. We try not to interfere with any standard operation procedures that any organization has, parochial schools, the EVSC. We just want to be able to support you in a situation like that, so that if you need any support of any type, we're ready to give that support.
When you talk about support, what does that look like?
Well, if in case you need to have, if you're going to have to put the kids into a certain area, leave that building because that building's been damaged or something like that, we would maybe get a hold of the building commission to have them to get out there quick enough to make sure that that other building is safe to go into before you would enter that building. And then inspect that building to make sure that the kids would be safe.
Well, I know my first year here, Sherman, it was, people were joking with me because we had an ice storm, an earthquake, we had wind damage, we closed school for a number of reasons. It was quite, but we've seen in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, a major tragedy. And you know, how do people respond to those type of things, and how are people on alert for those kind of responses?
You know, we look at a lot of different things in these different types of disasters. And in a school corporation, you have a psychological effect that has on the students and has on people itself. I mean, from all ages and everything. And that's one of the things that we want to be able to address as quick as possible. We've got the first responders that will be able to respond. The state of Indiana is on alert also in case we need more resources and everything brought into here. But
So,
the psychological effect of it right now is what I see in Japan and everything with a lot of people, everyone that they interview and different things.
so it's a multi-agency response, and we appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you for being on today. And you just share with me that the new siren is already up on the North Campus, the new North Campus, so we're excited about that.
Well, that's great.
Thank you very much.
We've worked with all the schools and try to get, all of our sirens have been put up at schools mostly.
Great, thank you. Coming up after the break, we'll show you how a system EVSC uses to reach thousands of families in case of emergency. Are you a part of it? Find out next.